Hello everyone, welcome to the podcast. Hey, we're getting there now, we're up to episode 6. So, let's get into it. So this one is quite a harsh story, to be honest. There's some good parts, but there's a lot of pain in it. So, but such is life. This spans quite a lot of my life. It's more or less the relationship I had with alcohol and maybe an addiction I had to it. It only sort of manifested in my later life, in my 20s, when I had sort of an emotional breakdown because I wasn't equipped. I never had a dad around, or just different blokes. My mum didn't really love us properly. She didn't give us love. Obviously, we wasn't emotionally aware. We hadn't been taught anything. The reality is, my mum neglected us once or twice. At Christmas time, we got some decent presents, but I remember not having nothing, no food, because it's also the story of when I lost my front teeth. Because like in my 20s, I used to drink a lot. You could say I was an alcoholic. I don't like to label things, but maybe that's what it was. Like I say, this episode is a little bit deep. A lot of stuff happened when I was drinking. I started drinking early in my early teens, but then because of unhealed trauma and what have you, from childhood, it became an addiction sort of thing in my 20s, in my early 20s, and then in my later 20s it really did become an addiction. I couldn't go anywhere without a drink. I used to even take a bottle of beer to my nana's sometimes, so you know what I mean, that's how bad it got at one point. I've not touched a drop now for like over 6 years, so it says it all really. I've never felt better. But I started drinking like early in my early teens. We all did on walked in, we all just used to go and get drinks from the shop, cans of fucking lager, and just get drunk, roam around Walton. Big gangs at that time as well. We were still in big gangs of like 40 and 50. So we started drinking then, and then I met my girlfriend, and then I used to just go in the pubs and drinking that. I also sort of gathered a little bit of a gambling addiction, speaking of which, because I used to always go in the pub and just go straight to the fruit machines, and I mean worse than anybody else. I'd spend my last fucking pound on it, I'd spend my last money on it from my childhood, because my mum used to gamble a lot when I was growing up, and take me in arcades and like amusement arcades where she was gambling on fruit machines. So I don't know anyway, but I started doing it. Fucking hell, it nearly ruined my life. Addition to why my relationship broke down with my girlfriend, that was definitely had an effect on it. Drinking like Stella, and I'd have some really bad arguments drunk. Never hit girls, I've never been like that ever. Even if I was really, really drunk, we'd have some really bad fights. In the early days I used to drink a lot. I used to be going up Blackburn, I'd get drunk, or I'd then be getting the train, or like I mentioned in the other episode, I'd be getting taxis. I knew all the taxi lads in Blackburn. What I mentioned, this is when I lost my front teeth. I'd come back from Blackburn, back down, to go to my mum's, because towards the end I didn't have nowhere to live. I was staying at my mum's in the beginning, living at my mum's in the beginning, but all these years later, my mum didn't really want me living back at her house, so I was struggling, I'd maybe stay there a night or two. And anyway, this night I'd come back, I'd gone to Walkden like I always do, to the Standard and to the Bull's Head. And I don't know if I was drunk or whatever. I mean, I was drunk, I don't know what happened, but I was in the Bull's Head, and I sat down. Next thing you know, with that lot, you've got fucking whacked in the back of the head. So I just got on my toes, got up out of that pub before I got fucking battered by about 30 of them. So I just got on my toes, run Bolton Road towards Walton, and then just kept jogging. I was just trying to get out of there really. So I ran over towards like the Brindley, and then I went down a little, jump over into a garden just to chill out, and I was pissed as well, so you've got to imagine. So I jumped up, and like the 6 foot, you're talking a 6 foot gate here, 6 foot wall, and I jumped up, I ran down a bit, and then jumped up to get over the sort of gate, and I jumped up and sort of fell forward and fell straight down. In a way, it could have been worse, because it could have killed me, because I fell straight on my face, like from 6 foot up. I tried to climb over the fucking gate, and then ended up slipping, like somehow pissed, and falling forward. My hands obviously didn't save me. My face hit the floor. Imagine. And my teeth, so my front teeth must have been smashed. And anyway, I must have looked like a fucking something out of a horror movie. But it was nice enough that garden what I jumped over and knocked on the back door. They opened the doors, like I can remember the face, they're like panic. But then I was just asking him, will you just get me a taxi? Will you just help me? Don't think my mum was in, so I got a taxi to Blackburn. I ended up getting a taxi to Blackburn, just getting up there and lying on the couch thinking I've got it sorted in the days after. But can you imagine that? But I didn't know what sort of effect it'd have on me throughout my life, that, you know what I mean? So, you know, in a way, this episode, it can be a lesson to a lot of people. It shows you where drinking too much can get you. I know we all have our reasons, and also you can change whenever you want, like I did eventually. And I think that was also one of the reasons that I ended up breaking up with the mum of my daughter, because she drunk a lot too, you know. So like, as soon as I stopped drinking, it's like it took a lot out of the relationship. We met in a way drinking all the time, going out partying. So like I say, it can be a lesson. There was another time just before I'd split up with my girlfriend at that time. I think I was like 25, 26 years old, something like that, coming into my late 20s. Fucking everyone knows me for that. I had a bit of a bad attitude. I don't know, I couldn't really tell myself. You know, I was a bit wild, and like I say, I used to have arguments with my girlfriend. We used to have pretty bad arguments sometimes, but I never hit her. But there was this one time just before we split up. I don't think she come to hospital with me, and that was one of the reasons as well that we split up. So we was having this argument. I can remember we lived up on Gainsborough Avenue, real decent house, big stone walls, lived next door to Jill, who I mentioned in the other episode. She owned the house, decent area of Blackburn, big stone walls, really nice gaff. So we moved back from Burnley, and we lived there for a bit. But what happened with that, this day we had this bad argument, and I don't know whether I'd been drinking. Usually it's the usual narrative, but this day we had a really bad argument, and it was getting hard. Like I say, it was just before we split up. And then we had this really bad argument, and you know, like I mentioned, I'd never hit a girl, and I didn't this day. But I was that mad. I remember her sat on the bed. She was sat on the bed. We was arguing. I was getting that angry, and I just punched the wall next to the bed, like the bed headboard. It was a big wooden headboard, and I just punched the wall next to the headboard. Oh my God! I just did a crack. And then I just my arm just dropped. I was laying on the bed, and then for 2 days, lying on the bed with my arm fucking reached out. This was like on a Thursday or Friday, and then on a Monday or something, it was that bad that it was like, well, you've got to go to hospital, get to hospital. I don't know, we got to the doctors, and he was like, go straight to hospital, and I had to go to hospital. I ended up having an operation on it. I've got all like metal pins in my arm. It was like metatarsal bone. It was like shattered. And I've got I can still feel it now. I've got pins and stuff there, just holding it all together. It's quite good what they did. It's decent. I heard it crack, and I've never felt pain like that in my life. Wow. There was another one. That was obviously probably because I had a drink. Don't abuse yourself. So it's just a bit of a lesson in life, really. Before we wind it up. This one was like a bit later on in my 20s, and I went off the rails a bit when I split up with my girlfriend. Moved back down this end, moved back to Little Hutton, ended up eventually getting a flat. But it was really hard, nearly, and I ended up homeless from nearly. So I don't know if I'll do a different story about that. But at this time, like I said, I was drinking a lot as well, and ended up getting this flat on Blackleach. But that's a different story, I'll tell it another day. And I remember, I used to drink a lot. Me and my mate Jay, best mate at the time, stuck by me solid through thick and thin. We used to stand against 20 lads in the pub, no either. No one used to mess with us when we was together. And this day, he had his little brother Jermaine and his uncle Simon, God rest his soul. He's not here now. That's another story for you. When I was nearly homeless, I was actually homeless, obviously, because Si, he let me stay at his flat. I had fucking nowhere. And Si was schizophrenic. He was on medication for it and everything. He was kept on top of. But he let me. He was like, I had nothing, nobody. My mum didn't let me stay there, and I would have been homeless that night. And he let me stay on his couch. I won't lie, I was a bit wary, I shut the door and stuff, worried a little bit, but I knew he was alright, and I respected him for it. I'll always respect him for that. He let me stay there. He was a good mate. Like I said, he was Jamie's uncle. But this day we was in town, like we used to just go to town, madness, town, me and Jay and Jamie as well, party guys. We was legends. Listen, we went to town once for 2 weeks straight, every day. Tell me if you know anybody who can do that every single day straight for 2 weeks. Boom. Paid for it after, like, fucking hell. We've nearly lost my mind. You'll remember that. So, but this might have been one of the days. This was probably just another time. And we had Mike Higson, one of my best mates from Little Hilton. He's moved to Thailand. Willie lived in Longsight at that time. We used to go down and see him all the time. This day we was all in town. I was drink driving, as per, see what I mean? This is another thing. I was always drink driving. This time I had a bottle of wine in my lap while I was driving around town. So think about it. Oh my God, it's just going to end in tears, isn't it? But we was driving, so we was going on the way to Mike's from town. I was driving, Jamie's in the passenger seat, Jermaine's in the back, and Si, we used to call him Uncle Si because he's Jay's uncle, and even everyone used to call him Uncle Si. And then Si's in the back, and we're going to Longside to Mike's gaff, to Mike's flat. So we were driving down, I don't know if anybody knows, near Longside Police Station. Even that, I mean, it was right near the Longside Police Station, one of the biggest police stations in Manchester. And I was driving down this student road with cars parked on both sides all the way down, proper busy, like in Longside near Charlton and everything, where the road's like full of cars all the time, fucking both sides. So I'll be blasting down this road, just all having a laugh, playing music loud, absolute stupidity. And I can remember the cars parked up on both sides, and then we come to sort of a fork in the road, and I had to swerve for some reason. I had to swerve, the car swerved, honestly, I lost control. I managed to keep control just enough so we didn't hit, because we was heading to hit one of the cars and go straight over the fucking 8-foot wall next to the pavement into a garden. That's where we would have ended up dead. But I managed to keep control a bit. It ended up swerving, and it ended up sort of going round in a circle, like in that James Bond scene where he's spinning round in slow motion. That's what it did. I can remember it vividly. And Si, Uncle Si, he was absolutely screaming, and I mean high pitched screaming, like. And I grabbed hold of Jay while he was like spinning round in slow motion, started keeping him in his seat, and looked back to make sure Jermaine was alright. And we just come to a stop in the middle of the road. It like stopped somehow in the middle of this fork junction thing, and then stopped facing the opposite way. I was like, oh, and we all looked round at each other and like patted each other to see if he's still alive. And I looked round and went, Jermaine, are you alright? He stopped screaming and he was alright. And then Jamie was checking on Si, and I was like, Jay, are you alright? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. And then the fucking typical, you can't make it up. The police must have just been coming out of the police station further down the road. And then they were just driving up the road and just managed to see it. So they just grabbed hold of me quick, and I had all this computer stuff in the back of the car from uni, because I was at uni at that time. And I was like, the police like took it, I was like, Jay, get me uni bag, get me bags, while he was throwing me in the back of the van. God was with us that day. And they just locked me up, kept me in there till like early hours in the morning. I didn't expect it, but I thought they might wait for me or somehow come back, but they didn't. I don't blame them, because look at the situation I had them in. Because I'd never put them in that position. It's not who I am. I've never put anyone in a sort of position like that. Like I say, it's down to the drink. Mike, my best mate, I'll always love him. One of my best mates. He did actually come and get me. Like, I don't know, somehow I don't know if I had my phone. They took everything off me. Maybe I had my phone left, and then I managed to ring him because he wasn't too far. He come and pick me up from Longside Police Station. And like, I was crazy at that time. We went back, I had like cocaine and stuff like that, so I was just having loads of lines. And then, typical, when he picked me up, guess where we went? Straight to Asda in Longside, in Hume. And I got a bottle of champagne, and then we went back to my flat. You know what I mean? I'd lost my car, I'd lost everything that night. You know what I mean? Wow. But I'll always respect Mike, because I would have been stuck otherwise. Probably would have had to walk the other side of Manchester. It would have took me 2 days. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next episode.